Hey guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Radiant Tale, continuing Leon's route. And we were just getting into a little flashback of what happened and why List hates humans. And this is oh no, and this is a story set in the past, but not long ago. I had three family members back then. My father, the shopkeeper of Cheers, general goods store and the pub he inherited from my grandfather. Okay, no, my father. Jesus Christ, my music is loud. Hold on. My father, the shopkeeper of Cheers, the general goods store and pub he inherited from my grandfather. Okay. My mother, a sickly but warm person who always supported my father, right by his side. Finally, List, my older brother with a deep compassion for his family and boundless kindness. Three family members makes it seem like there's three as a whole, but it's technically four. Okay. The four of us split the work and visited Cheers branch stores, managing whichever fell under our responsibility. And thinking back, that was the most peaceful part of my life. I spent my days learning alongside List. We were taught management from our father and cooking from our mother. It was so wholesome and adorable, and it's going to have a tragic end. And those days surrounded by my warm, gentle family would last forever. Or at least that was what I thought. But those ordinary days everyone takes for granted always have an end. Around 20 years ago, my mother's chronic illness grew more severe and she ended up recuperating at Cheers Arthur branch. But rest didn't do her any good, and soon she breathed her last and passed away as easily if she'd just fallen asleep. I remember the day my mother died as if it were yesterday. You never forget it, trust me. Alyssa and I could only fight back tears. And I remember my father's back clearly. He seemed so small, stricken with grief. And there's something I want to explain so everything makes more sense. Fenrir's cherish our pacts and value our familial ties much more than humans can imagine. It's to the extent that some say a Fenrir's familial affection isn't rational, but something deeply rooted in our instincts. And that saying goes that Fenrirs who lose their mates will perish within half a year, no exceptions. Now, of course, the time frame isn't exact, but to this day, no Fenrir has escaped the pattern. I'm sure you can predict the rest of the story now. Yeah, right after my mother passed away, my father collapsed and fell into eternal sleep. Naturally, having lost my parents, I was drowning in grief and sadness every day, even if it wasn't to my father's extent. But my brother Liz supported me through the toughest times. Please don't cry, Leon. Remember what our parents said. It's thanks to our family that we managed to protect grandfather's Cheers to this day. Cheers is proof that our family existed in this world. What is our duty then? I'm sure you already know. And so, Liz took over Cheers' ownership. As for me, I ran around serving as the manager of Cheers' branches to support List. Then time passed and my trauma from our parents' death finally began to heal. One day List summoned me and suddenly said this. I have a confession to make. I found my precious someone. If the target of his affections were a Fenrir, things would have been simple. But my brother's beloved was a normal human who wasn't significant or special. Okay, so he doesn't hate us. He doesn't want his brother to fall in love with a human because either his special someone left him or died. They left him in some way, shape, or form. That was probably the beginning of the tragic story in List's eyes. So it was a relationship between different races? But why is that a tragedy? I know they're few, but I've seen a good number of such couples. Well, same, but most of the Fae that end up with humans come from races that aren't too powerful. Leon seemed awkward and chose his words carefully. Oh. Okay. Um, remember earlier in the last part when he caught us and was like, oh, I have to be careful. What if I hurt her and like whatever? So do you think something like List caused injury or harm to his beloved without realizing it? Are we gonna... Okay. Are you pulling a Twilight on me game where it's like, no, I can't touch you because I might kill you if I fuck you kind of bullshit? Are you trying to pull that on me game? Are you doing that? Oh, Jesus. And the problem with is that many Fae with extraordinary powers live in isolation, away from humans. Like dragons, for example. Well, I've already dated a dragon, so what ifs? If they use their powers without restraint, humans might be paralyzed with fear. No one can truly fight instinctive panic. And that's the case for us Fenrirs too. We aren't as impressive as dragons, but we possess powers that humans could never rival. Okay, so you're like, people would be afraid of you. It's not the, if I make love to you, I might break you in half type of like, okay, we're not going. Okay, I was like, sir, where are we going with this? I can't blame you for your writers coming up with some crazy shit, but okay. But Leon, my family is entrusted with a store that offers protection of Fae, so we're special. Other Fenrirs rarely leave our village. And due to our power, greater than normal Fae, we can maintain our status as guardians. But because of that, we're more cautious. Or at least we're supposed to be, but List fell in love. And that's why now he's looking off sad. Look how beautiful he looks as he looks off listlessly into the distance. Like, I realize. Listlessly. List is right here. He's down the street. It's fine. You know what I mean? He pretended to be human in more ways than just looks. And with an earnest wish to stay by her side, he hid his true identity. Oh, okay. So, like, this is not, he accidentally hurt her or whatever, blah, blah, blah. He lied about who he was, so that kind of freaked her out, probably. Okay. Well, that's why you don't lie about who you are, man. That's going to freak anybody out. A few years went by after Lys entered a relationship with a girl he loved. I told him he should tell her the truth before he was forced to reveal it one day. But he must have been scared. Lys dragged his feet in taking that step forward. Till one day, she found out. He accompanied her on a trip to the forest on the outskirts of town to collect medicinal herbs. They came across a fiend by pure chance. Saved her from a fiend, freaked her out. She breaks his heart. I mean, I can understand that kind of feeling like a gut punch. He wasn't able to defend her in his human form, and they couldn't escape. I love how the little shadow that was the wolf form had a little earring on. And driven into a corner, List's only choice was to fight in his Fenrir form. He easily eliminated the fiend with his overwhelming power, but the moment he turned around to face her, what awaited him wasn't the relieved face of his beloved, but those two words. You monster! I mean, I understand being afraid and being freaked out and being like, this is a huge motherfucking secret, right? So I get it. I get being like, what the fuck? And maybe being upset and needing time or maybe not being able to get over it. But you monster? After they just saved you from an actual monster? That's cold. Again, I get the fear. Like, if he looked and I saw fear and panic and, like, whatever in her eyes. I get it, because she's processing a lot right now. Okay? That's not something you see every day, but it's not that she doesn't know. It's like, if you were dating someone and they turned into, like, a wolf, you'd be like, what the fuck? But that's because you don't know that humans can turn into wolves. That's not something that's fucking normal. In this world, Fae are normal. So, like, finding out your boyfriend's a Fae would be kind of like a mindfuck, but not, like, in the sense of, like, oh my god, humans can do that. You know what I mean? You should be like, I can't believe you were hiding the secret from me. What the fuck? It should be more like shock and appalled that someone was lying to you like this, not thinking that they're a monster. So, like, no, rude. No, they had to give it to you. They have to do the worst, make her the worst, so that you feel bad for him. Than if she was just upset and angry and then couldn't be in a relationship with him because he lied to her, because then you'd be like, what a bitch. what the fuck, get over it. But her being like, you monster, you're like, oh good, I hope he ate her. You know what I mean? You're still mad at her, but it's a different kind. You're not like, what the fuck? They could have had her get over it. No, no, but this, she thinks he's a monster, so that makes her just like, really just like the worst. Leon narrated List's past in a matter-of-fact tone. I was speechless. I could only stand there motionlessly, although the thing is, I'm wondering if List doesn't realize that we know what Leon is and we've seen him in his Fenrir form. He's just assuming we don't know. It wasn't her fault. Yes, it was. If he'd at least told her beforehand, things might have gone differently. No, I don't really blame him entirely. I mean, yes, he should have told her. But again, even if he told her, hey, I'm actually a fae, or hadn't, or like whatever, even if he hadn't told her, right? Her seeing him turn into a fae beast should have been like a what the fuck. And I understand her being pissed off, angry, shocked, whatever. Of course, you were just attacked by a fiend, so your emotions are running high. I get it. Okay, but the you monster part, no, that's really not on him. You know? Her being upset at him lying and then choosing to being like, no, you lied to me. I can't believe you didn't tell me this. Does make her look cold and awful, but then you could be like, well, it is kind of his fault in that sense. But you monster? That's a little worse. I can't really blame him just because he didn't tell her, because then it's like, why would you tell someone if they're gonna call you a monster? You know fae beasts exist in this world. You know what I mean? So you know that happens. Like, would you have called him a monster if he turned into a chipmunk? You know? Like, she has some hate toward fae or something, you know? Like, I don't know. I think her reaction was a little weird, and I don't blame him for it, so. They also had bad luck to blame, but to List, her words were fatal. Yeah? They were a race with deep affection. The death of their mate was enough to make their health decline and lead to their own demise. Is that why Leon thought he'd never see his brother again? He thought his brother just kind of like went off to die in the woods somewhere? And such a person was denounced by his beloved. It must have caused a much greater wound than a human like me could imagine. After that List disappeared, he didn't even come back to Cheers. And that's how you ended up inheriting Cheers in the end, right? Cheers, too, a hybrid pub and general store that can be found in every city. It was run by the Fenrir brothers, List and Leon, until a decade ago. Since List disappeared, Leon has been watching over Cheers by himself. Yep, a decade's already passed now. He looked up at the sky, eyes distant, before letting out a small sigh. That's why I thought I'd never see List again. And considering the nature of Fenrir's, there was a chance he might have died of heartbreak. And it just took him a lot longer to get over his heartbreak than, like, again, a normal person because of the bond that Fenrir's have in their heart. That's so sad, though. Poor thing. See, so that's why Leon was so overjoyed when he said he met someone nostalgic. This was the only family he had left. I'd once locked my heart away due to the trauma of losing my parents, too. Even if I wasn't a Fenrir, I knew the pain and grief that came with losing family. After his explanation, I also gained a rough understanding of List's hostility toward me. It must be because I'm a human. Oh no, it's because his brother's in love with you. See, it's not your fault at all. I'm sorry about all the discomfort he caused you, but please don't take it to heart. I mean, we got lots to do, and we don't have time to be distracted by unimportant stuff. I guess. He had a point, but I didn't want to dismiss it as unimportant either. My words faltered. Leon smiled slightly as if to emphasize his point. List experiences led to his prejudice against humans, but he wasn't like this before. And that's why I think the upcoming festival's a pretty good opportunity. And no matter what race you are, we can all have fun and party happily all night long. Maybe that might strike a chord in List's heart. Yeah. Immediate change might be impossible, but I hope it'll be a small step forward. I knew very well that Leon's words were mere consolation to cheer me up. But I couldn't stay down forever, and I raised my head. For now, we need to focus on what's in front of us, right? Yep, that's the spirit. And, Whoa, we talked for too long. We need to hurry it over to meet the Merchant Association president. Oh, right, we gotta hurry. Now we Leon. I gently nudged Spacey's back, ushering her forward. But on the inside, I let out a sigh and cursed my own misjudgment. Messed up. I never planned on spilling so many details to her. I'd known right from the start that she was the kind of girl who'd worry her head off if she heard our story. What I should have done was make up something on the spot and tell her not to worry. Despite that, I'd still told her everything, and I knew why. Some part of me wanted Spacey to listen. Part of me wanted her to know about me, about my family. Been together more often lately. Guess I've gotten too comfortable, huh? In any case, I need to have a serious discussion with List later. Stole a glance at Spacey. Though a smile was plastered all over her face, distress still leaked through. I need to talk to him so she'll never have to make this expression again. Others. List? Sometime later, the meeting that Leon and Spacey went to ended without incident. Afterward, he brought his brother to a quiet back alley away from the bustle of the festival and gave him a stern glare. Like, they really do basically have same face. Like, well, now, you look at. You took me all the way to a deserted place like this. What in the world do you wish to talk about? Don't play dumb. It's about Spacey. Ah, the human girl. I see. I have not done anything out of line. I only spoke my honest thoughts. The words of a human never deserve any faith. Nothing more. And that counts as something out of line. Leon pointed an accusing finger at his brother, temper flaring. Never say that again. I understand your scars from the past haven't healed and you can't trust humans. But taking it out on Spacey is wrong. I said those words because I want the best for you. As your elder brother, I need to make sure my cute little brother doesn't make the same mistake that I did. Leon closed his mouth, but his gaze only grew sharper. List wasn't shaken at all and continued his speech. Love for a human is a double-edged sword. Your love is strong enough it will leave a fatal wound, one beyond the point of no return when it strikes back at you. It's so painful that when your feelings are met with rejection, you want to die. Know that? I'm a Fenrir just like you, but no, you wouldn't know. You haven't fallen in love with all your heart yet. After that incident, I stayed in Oriens for a while, observed that sit and observing that city has confirmed my thoughts. The so-called love humans speak of is nothing but a commodity that can be replaced when necessary. I mean, we can't say he's not really wrong, because not everyone thinks that way, but in general, humans do fall in and out of love. You meet someone, you fall in love, and like sometimes it doesn't work out and it hurts and you get over it and you fall in love again. And sometimes you fall in love deeper and it hurts you more, and other people are just bouncing around, having fun with love. Humans have a very different concept of love amongst humans. Like, we all have different concepts. Some people are like, yeah, love, I love everybody. And they're just they're just flirty whores. They'll just fuck anything that moves. And that's their version of love. And some people just want one person. That's it for their whole life. Doesn't even care. They don't need to experiment. They don't need to have multiple boyfriends or girlfriends. Just one person. That's it. You know? And some people, like, you meet your one true love. You fall in love. You get married. Blah, blah, blah. That person dies. They never get married again. They're perfectly fine. And other people will, like, eventually find a second type of love. You know? But, like, humans are definitely different than Fenrir's in the sense of, yes, it does, like, for the most part, yes, there are rare occurrences where people are so distraught that their husband or wife of 80 years has died that, like, they die of heartbreak too. You know what I mean? And even in those circumstances, people are like, oh, it's just old age and whatever. And it's like, you know what? Maybe it's just old age and the fact that they're devastated that someone they spent their entire fucking life with is dead now, and that's horrible. You know what I mean? Like, but that's basically like for Fenrir's, you fall in love with your whole heart. You give your whole heart to someone. That's it. And there's a lot of animals in the animal kingdom that are like that. You know what I mean? That mate for life type of a thing. Humans don't necessarily really all do that. We're all over the place, so it is vastly different. So him seeing Orions and being like, humans don't think of this the way we do. In general, he's not wrong. But in general, Fenrir's are all the same in the sense of mate for life type of thing, fall in love so desperately that when one dies, the other one follows soon after. Not all most humans aren't like that, but that doesn't mean all humans aren't. You know what I mean? So, and we're going to be that exception. There are a lot of humans that are like that. You know what I mean? That would just never fall in love with anyone else because that's it for them, you know? So, humans are just, we're colorful like the rainbow, you know? There's all kinds of love going on. So, yeah. But for someone who has one way, and that's the only way it is for Fenrir's, it's got to be crazy seeing humans have a different perspective for the most part, you know? Every single one of them speaks of true love, but the next moment they immediately find a new object for their infatuation. Humans are irresponsible, unfaithful, and dishonest beings. Generalization, but not unfair. That is part of human nature. It's natural that their worldviews are different from us Fenrir's. They're a different race, and we should respect that. We stand our queen over here. Oh dear. It seems you've completely lost yourself to the values of humans. Please wake up already. Even if you get along with a human like that, nothing good will come out of it. Ugh, don't make assumptions just because someone's a human. Leon raised his voice in anger and grabbed Lys by the collar. You know, a little, CG with him grabbing his breath. Look, listen, I mean, that doesn't, it might not work for them, but it'll work for me seeing the two of them get a little feisty with each other. They might be about ready to literally beat each other up, but I'm just going to be like, wow, it's hot. I owe a lot to Spacey. I'm only here today because of her. She's someone precious to me. And you used to talk about your lover as if she was the best thing that happened. Silence. Such illusions will only lead you astray. So-called human you owe so much to only maintains her composure because she's oblivious to the fearsome side of a Fenrir. Her ignorance is the lone reason she can act in such a manner around you. Well, that's true. I mean, we know that he's a Fae. We know he's a Fenrir. I don't know if we saw his wolf form in the common route. I know we have in the game, in the original game, but I just don't remember what route it was in. List's speech broke off there, and he pulled his gaze off Leon. Then he looked further down the alley over his younger brother's shoulder. His lips curled in a twisted smile. Do I happen to be standing there? Shall we ask the human in question her opinion? What? Ugh. Don't make assumptions just because someone is a human. Hmm? On my way home after reporting back to the castle, a certain voice perked my ears. What was that? A faint voice coming from the back alley had a biting tone to it, as if engaged in a heated argument. Brady's always warned me against poking my nose into things, but feigning ignorance and walking away didn't seem right either. If it's a fight, I can't let it escalate. Okay, I'll just take a peek from back here. If it's really a brawl, I'll leave and report it to the security forces right away. Keeping my breathing as quiet as possible, I peered into the alley in question. There I saw. Her ignorance is the lone reason she can act in such a manner around you. Over there, it's Leon and List. The mood seemed too tense for a conversation between brothers, however. Taken by surprise, I froze. List's eyes suddenly met mine. Shall we ask the human in question her opinion? What? The wind blew in my direction as List spoke. Perhaps it was some kind of spell. Next thing I knew, List was standing before me, lips curling slightly. Like a moth to a flame, or whatever that saying is. If it is a coincidence, I have to applaud you for your excellent timing. Your name was. What was it again? Well, it doesn't matter anyway. I shall teach you a valuable lesson about the Fenrir race. We are. Stop it! Oh, we finally get a CG again. Look, we get CGs every part, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I feel like we got some more Virginia right away, but here we go. Here's our CG for this part. At least one, so maybe we'll get another one, but who knows? But look at how fierce he is. Look at his little teeps. List reached for me, but just as fast, List's outstretched arm was shoved away by Leon. Leon! Leon stood in front of me, shielding me and glaring at List with fiery eyes. Like, damn, he's so angry, it's hot. I already told you, List. Don't take your resentment out on her. Leon's angry? Utter anger clouded Leon's face, a look he'd never shown in front of me before. His brother List gave Leon an unexpectedly pitying look. To think that the scaredy cat Leon would finally use his teeth. What a surprise. It seems you have skillfully bewitched my brother and blinded him. What do you mean by that? Seeing the derision on his face, I couldn't stay silent. I don't know what you're talking about, but you're being rude to Leon, too. He's kind to everyone. I'm only one of... Are you implying you know Leon better than me, his own flesh and blood? I've known him like you. Well, you haven't been around in the last 10 years, bitch. His words hit a sore spot, especially since I'd only just realized that I knew next to nothing about Leon as a person. You're a poison to Leon. The only thing you can achieve is leaving wounds and scars on him. That's not true! It's okay, Spacey. Don't listen to him. What he's saying is outright wrong. Never been hurt by you, not even once. And it won't happen in the future either. What gives you such confidence? It is clear that such a day will arrive eventually. We Fae, especially us Fenrir's, are completely different from human beings. Or different beings from humans, sorry, same difference. Just like this. It happened in a split second. No, it's really, swirling him like this is weird. Somebody got a little too happy in MS Paint. This form wavered and flickered before me, and then... He is a... He's a little wolf with a cute little ear cuff. Look at his little earring. He's pretty, though. He's a pretty little white wolf. With his little yellow flecks. You know? Large, gaping jaws closed in on me and Leon, poised to devour us. However, those fangs didn't make contact, instead dissipating like a dream. The thing is he's like, yeah, if you're growling and snarling, I'm gonna freak out, but like, we know what a Fenrir is, so we should know that he's a wolf type of, you know what I mean? And even if she's never seen Leon's form, she knows. After the wind rushed by, only List was left standing there, his expression completely unruffled. That's not funny, even as a joke. Are you okay, Spacey? Yeah, but what was that just now? An illusion. A mere bluff. Yes, indeed. But I must say, I am rather surprised. Why is that? I thought I would give you a little fright, but it seems you're quite the bold one, despite your looks. I shook my head slightly before staring right into List's eyes. That's because I've experienced much more dangerous incidents countless times during my journey. Furthermore, it's not my first time seeing a Fenrir in Fae form. What? My statement seemed to have shocked him to his core. Okay, so then we have seen Leon in his form. List was rendered speechless. Then he gazed at Leon. It cannot be. You voluntarily showed your Fenrir form? Yeah, I did. What foolishness. You are aware of my situation. You should have known how imprudent imprudent. Wow, you should have known how imprudent. I was reading that wrong. That's the exact reason I showed her. Leon's tone was calm, in stark contrast to his elder brother, who'd lost his composure. I mean, that's actually smart on Leon's part. Like, so if you think about it, like, he's always been flirty with us, and you're like, oh, he's just a flirty person, whatever. Okay, now you know. No, he's always been flirty with you, because he's kind of always had a thing for you. Which, I mean, to be fair, in the original game, I mean, I don't remember... But, like, I don't remember if it came across like, oh, he's flirty with everyone, or, oh, he's flirty because he likes you, but, like, he's a side character you're not going to date. But, okay, he's flirty, he kind of has a little crush on you, right? It's not like, full blown passionate love, but it's like, I kind of like her. I got a little crush, whatever. Of course, he would take the opportunity to show up in his Fenrir form to see what your thoughts were. Because if he's starting to feel something, he knows what happened to his brother, whatever, you know, that's a smart thing to do. I think I've kind of got feelings for her. And I told my brother when he fell in love with a human, he needs to tell her what he is. And he refused. And then she freaked out. And I don't want to make that mistake. So I learned from his mistakes to, this girl that I kind of maybe have a crush on. Let me show up in the wolf form. And then she's like, whoa, okay, that was shocking. But like, cool, can I pet you? You have nice fur. And then she was chill with it. So he knows that she's not going to freak out and call him a monster. You know what I mean? He did this to protect himself in the beginning. And like, because if she freaked out and was like, wow, I can't deal with. But the thing is, he also had to know we probably would have been okay because we've always been around Rady. Okay. And the biggest shock to us was, wait a minute, Rady, you can turn into a hot man? What the fuck? Ah! And then we basically fainted because he was hot, remember? We didn't so we've always been around Faye. It's not like this is new to us. And, so we were going to take it a lot easier. And yes, I get it. The cute little fluff ball that is Rady, or Firo, the little squirrel, Ratataska, or whatever he is. He's a fucking squirrel, okay? He's totally different than, a wolf boy. But, it's fucking Leon. So, if all of a sudden this wolf showed up, you'd be like, oh my god, and then you're like, oh, it's just Leon. Never mind. Woo! Thought you were like a real wolf, but it's you. Okay. You could play fetch with him, rub his tummy and shit like that, and he'd be totally fine. You're not worried that he's gonna hurt you. Even if he's fierce and can rip apart fiends, you're like, I ain't worried about it. You're like, I might be stunned, damn, those are some jaws on you, bitch. But you're not worried he's gonna hurt you because you know him. So, this girlfriend was a bitch, okay? Anyway. You'll never establish a true relationship with deception and lies. No matter how strong you think your bond is, a lie will make all faith brittle. Is that meant to be a dig at me? It's not. I'm just saying that I trusted her, that's all. Macy isn't a girl who would discriminate against someone due to their race. She looks at people as individuals without their labels. I placed my faith in her. So beautiful and lovely. List grimaced at Leon's words and took a step back. List then turned and aimed a fiery glare at me. Now he's even more mad. Even if she has seen your form and knows your identity, she won't understand the extent of the rift between our worlds. I will not stand by and watch my own little brother taste the same pain I did. One day you will realize that I'm correct. See you later, Leon. Wait, List! We're not done yet! List waved his arm slightly and a powerful gust blew through the narrow alley. The wind blew right at my face and I couldn't help but shut my eyes. When I opened them again, fallen leaves kicked up by the gust skittered across the ground, but there was no sign of List. Damn it! That stubborn wolf! Unable to quell his boiling anger, Leon stomped the ground before turning to face me. Sorry about that, Spacey. No one wants to watch brothers fight each other. I mean, you gave me a pretty CG with it, I bet it'd be okay. Are you hurt at all? Must have been scary. So sorry. No, I'm all right. You shielded me after all. I've got to admit that I was a bit scared, but I could tell he was truly worried about you, so it wasn't too bad. Oh, you're such a kind soul. That's why I can't forgive List. He chose to drag you into this of all things and spouted horrible accusations at you. Come on, don't put him in such a bad light. He's your only family and the most special person to you, after all. Special person to me, Spacey. But also, I mean, List's gotta get over his shit. You can love him and be like, get over your shit. I knew the pain that came with losing family all too well. Smiling, I added a right? Leon stared intently at me. I saw something in his eyes that seemed like a mix of loneliness and heated passion, because he's like, most precious person to me. Oh, that's not quite right, actually. He gently placed a hand on my shoulder before shaking his head slowly. List is my precious family, yeah. Like you said, we've only got each other now. But calling him my most special person is a little off. Why's that? You said that family is really, really important to Fenrir's. I did. And for the same reason, someone who might want to be part of my family is just as. No, they're even more special. My lips trembled and I couldn't find my voice. He must have noticed how I had tensed up and he spoke in a soft, serene tone. You're the most special person in my life. Just like I said to List, I was only able to work so hard and get this far because of you. Why? My relationship with Leon was like that of two friends who barely managed to stay in contact. We only came across each other randomly in our shops and chatted briefly. I even used to treat him pretty dismissively. Yeah, but maybe he gets off on that kink. You don't know. Why do you care so much about me? I see. So you really have forgotten about the day you came into my pub for the first time. Huh? Leon's eyes softened with nostalgia as he leaned his forehead against mine, giving me a gentle smile. I remember every second of that day, even now. He leaned his forehead, so we got mooshed foreheads, and we don't get a CG of that. But like they gloss over that, like he leaned his forehead against mine. That is so intimate and adorable. Okay, just I want to harp on that. Just deeply implant that in your brain in case you missed it, because it went by so fast. After the fatal incident between List and his girlfriend, he went missing. My mother and father had passed away. My brother, who'd encouraged me to nurture Cheers into a thriving store alongside him, had disappeared. It had been a betrayal. I felt as if I couldn't trust anything in the world, and for a time, I threw everything out the window and just stopped caring. I isolated myself in Arthur's main branch and left the other branches to their dedicated managers. I even stopped checking on them. Honestly, I considered closing down the shop a significant number of times. Whenever I recalled the heart my grandfather and father had invested in it, I struggled to act on it. I spent my days slovenly, only opening our shop when it crossed my mind out of habit. Life went on and on that way. And on one such day, excuse me, welcome. I opened my shop on a whim and came across a most curious pair of guests. A young girl in a furball lacfay. A furball lacfay. Why did that come out all fucking southern? A furball lacfay. Well, and they certainly weren't a common sight, especially not together. But I only gave them a fleeting glance. Couldn't bring myself to care. The girl walked around the pub excitedly, eyes bright. Then she placed an order, full of anticipation. But this was nothing but a source of agony to me. Sorry for the wait. Here's your pancake. So even the pancake I served was appallingly sloppy and half-heartedly made. Been so crude that the present me would have exploded with fury at myself for daring to serve it to a guest. However, that girl was different. It's delicious! After taking a bite, her eyes grew moist and a smile bloomed on her face like a flower. What?
You really think so? That's a bit crude, don't you think? The ingredients are pretty solid, I guess, but that's about it.
But it's yummy! The yummiest pancake next to Spiria's.
I don't think you've eaten any pancakes other than Spiria's. Whatever, as long as you're happy. See, working up the courage to go outside was a good thing, right?
Oh, that's true, because we had locked ourselves away, we were shut in, and then we kind of, like, cracked, and this is probably the first time we've gone out. Okay. Yeah, well, that's true. I'm young at this time. While I was struck mute, the girl eagerly polished off the pancake before my eyes. And then she said this to me. Mister, please take this. Aw, look at little baby us. And this is... It's called Chlores. I heard it's a flower that blooms when we're happy. This is my thank you gift for your yummy food.
Oh, never expected her to bloom a chloris. Or are those pancakes actually, like, good for real?
This is adorable. Like, because it's like little us. And like, look at Rainey's stupid beady eyes. But like, Leon looks so adorable. And like, oh my god. let's not remember the age difference now. The fact, well, I mean, God knows how old he is, but he's never changed in the last like 10 fucking years. Oh my God, it's adorable though. Oh, what do you mean?
Well, it's a bit of a long story. She's been in low spirits for a long time. She wouldn't go outside or eat properly, almost as if her heart were frozen over. But lately she's finally recovering and heading out into the big wide world. Everything she sees must feel new and exciting. And as you can see, even a slobby pancake like yours moved her enough to bloom a chloris.
The furball kept finding fault with me, saying that it was clear I'd cut corners with my pancakes. But to be honest, I didn't really hear any of it, because when she had smiled at me, I felt time begin to move again. It was the first time since my parents' passing that I'd experienced something like this. It was the first time I'd received a chloris in a long time, or had even seen one bloom. I'd served her half-heartedly, been negligent even. She was still happy, and I felt both ashamed, so very apologetic. At the same time, a hot, scalding emotion welled up in my heart. Hey, Furball,
Yeah, go on.
I think I just fell in love with her. I'm like 12, sir.
Don't get any closer, you creep!
Okay, Rady. Props, Rady, because that was really, Leon, Jesus! I know that you're timeless and you're not gonna age while I grow old and die, but like, sir! I am a child! They handled it well and be like, I think I fell in love with. Oh my God, we're really pulling some Twilight level shit with Leon, aren't we? Imprinting on a child? What the fuck? I've only ever seen the first Twilight movie, but I like watching when like people like YouTube channels that like react to movies and stuff. I love watching it when they react to like Twilight movies and stuff like that because that's the only thing I've ever seen of them is people reacting to them. I've only ever watched the first one because they're so fucking awful. The acting is so bad. They're so terrible. But I know. But I mean, even if you've never watched them, you know the basic plot points because also I'm pretty sure was that it? Did someone No, I don't know if I ever tried reading the books either or whatever, but it was like, dear God, no. Like, I know I tried reading the 50 Shades of Grey book because my friend had a free PDF copy, so she sent it to me. And I swear to God, I was like, this is the worst writing I have ever fucking had the displeasure of coming across. That's not true. I've read, sometimes you read books and you're like, it's not my taste, whatever. And then there's some that you're like, this should be burned. Like, you shouldn't burn books, but you're like, I want to because this is so goddamn awful and I will. I read a book like that so long ago and it's still like one of those like, God damn, I hate that so much. I'm so mad. It was so bad. But that was the way 50 Shades of Grey was. I was like, this is so fucking awful. But I feel like Twilight was like that too. And I don't remember reading it though, but I remember being like Bella Swan is like just the worst fucking main character ever. Like we're supposed to like her because I think I might have read the first couple of chapters or something and been like, she is the most insufferable, hateable, punchable fucking character that you're supposed to like ever. What the fuck? You know what I mean? I know that there's fan fiction out there that's even worse, but like these books got published and this bitch made money. Good lord, I could take a shit and sell it to people then for that. Like, you know what I mean? I am a Twilight hater. I'm sorry, but like, I didn't think the first movie was too bad. I'm like, this is it's bad, but it's like one of those like, yeah, it's kind of bad and stupid, but like, it's not like so awful you want to like carve your eyes out. You're like, this is really stupid, and why are we watching this? But like, whatever, There's other movies that are really bad and stupid that you're like, I love this. It's the worst. Like Sharknado. Literally, Sharknado. They're on a bus freaking out because there are sharks in ankle deep water. Oh my God, sharks! The water's ankle deep. How is that even a thing? But it's meant to be like the worst movie ever made, and that's what makes it fucking great because it's so stupid. Like it's not even a B class horror movie. It is like literally a Q class horror movie. It is like the bottom of the barrel, but that's what makes them fun, Twilight was meant to be better than that. And you're like, no, but it doesn't. It goes like into D territory. Like a D level movie where you're like, this is so stupid. It kind of is fun sometimes. I've literally watched it once, maybe twice. That's it. But I wouldn't punch anyone if they were to put it on. I'd be like, fine, whatever. But again, I like watching the people react to them because I'm like, yeah, I just like watching people be like, what the fuck? Because literally, what the fuck? So you know the main plot points. And again, even if you never read the books or watched the movies, you know the main plot points. But like, we're going hard. Why does this whole entire route give me like, I feel like I'm having Vietnam flashbacks over here and it's like Twilight fucking flashbacks. Like, oh dear God. PTSD from that existing. I appreciate Rady literally clubbing him. Oh dear God. And well, the furball sent me flying with a kick and ran off with the girl in question. But I still remember that day vividly even now. It is weird that you kind of fell in love with a child, but, you know, sure. I mean, I guess we don't have a right to judge since we were just sitting there in the last part with, not the last part, but the part before, with the child's head in our lap and then thinking, like, someday you're going to grow up to be kind of hot. And then, so that was a little weird too, so. There's a lot of questionable shit happening in this fan disc already. Okay. I'm sure you already know the identity of the girl that I just mentioned. Leon pulled his forehead away from me and grinned. Leon, too, a young Fanfare who owns Cheers. He had a rough time after losing his family, but our heroine helped him gain the motivation to earnestly keep the pub going. He has feelings for her. What? No. Seeing that grin triggered something in my mind, and I found myself responding with a small nod. Yeah, I can tell. I don't really remember much of it, though. Well, that's only natural. Apparently it only just opened up your heart back then. But I was really happy, you know. I can even declare with full confidence that I'm only here today because I met you back then. Well, that's an exaggeration. I'm sure I didn't mean anything. Even if that's the case. Leon took my hand in his. It was almost like a reenactment of the day he'd accepted the chloris from my small young hands. Even if that's the case, you were the light in my darkness. If he'd done this in the past, I would have flung his hands away. But for some reason, having his hands around mine wasn't all that bad right now. After that, I left Arthur for a while so I could train. I scolded myself, saying that it was too shameful for me to see until I'd become a better guy, and that was my motivation. Again, a little questionable. That's like, I think I fell in love with this child. I'm gonna go away and become a good man for her, and then come back to. There's so many problems with that, but I'm just gonna let it go. Okay. There's so many problems, and yet the underlying statement's like, I met you and you pulled me out of my darkness, and I'm just gonna go be better for you, and I fell in love with you instantly. All of it's beautiful. You're like, no, it's so sweet, but I was like 10. It's if you take that part out, if you take the child part out and think, oh, I just walked in and it's a few years and like, you know, but I wasn't a child at the time. Everything about it's romantic. You know, the actual circumstances is a little questionable. But the romantic is winning out, and I don't know if I like that. Game, I don't like you for making me, like, not question this as hard as I should be questioning it, but okay, sure. Now that you mention it, you only started visiting our place a few years ago. I couldn't always hold myself back, and I secretly wanted to take a look at Lieber from time to time, or ask Rady about you. Oh, after all, whenever I'm down or in pain, simply seeing your smile makes me happy again, just like it did that day. That was all there was to it at first, really. At first? The thing is, humans mature very quickly. A small child turned into a beautiful young woman in the blink of an eye. Just seeing you made my heart race, and that wasn't enough anymore. Couldn't bear it. And the next thing I knew, I called out to you. And that's how we got here. I mean, I get it. It's kind of like, okay, so his feeling, even though he's like, I think I'm in love with her, it wasn't like romantically. Okay, maybe yet. Maybe deep down somewhere, it's like someday. Okay, all right, I can take it. It's this person pulled me out of my funk. And I they deserve, and like I'm gonna repay them by being the best I can be because, I would have still been in my funk if it wasn't for their kindness type of a thing, and it just happened to be innocent young child. Sure. And then it was like, yeah, I just always want to check in on this person that made me, oh, now you're hot and grown up. Okay, that's a little weird again, but still, whatever. We'll take it. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. All right. Okay. Whatever. Even if the nature of my feelings for you have changed since I first met you, you've always been special to me. Yeah, okay, see. The nature of my feelings have changed. I'm now in love with you, and before, I just loved you like a person. Okay. Okay. All right. Nice cover game. Good job. I feel better about this. To be honest, I didn't feel all that bad, even though I was like, I should feel bad about this. I should be questioning this, but I'm not. I'm sure that fact won't ever change. It's fantasy. The reality is like, oh, that's creepy and gross and wrong, but in the fantasy you're like, no, it's okay though, because it's fiction. I could no longer deny it. If I'd been even one day earlier, I would have written it off as his usual frivolous banter, if it had been. Sorry, I can't read. But the eyes that stared into mine were nothing like the Leon I had thought I knew. This is a confession, right? Getting it so early. What do I do? How should I respond? Same here. I don't think ... is good. I think same here. No. ... is just staring at him. That's bad. Oh, good. I might feel the same way. My view of you has gradually changed, Leon. I can't exactly say that you count as dear to me, but even so, you are precious to me, too. Just hearing that from you already makes me want to jump for joy. He's serious. Look at his sweet little face. I could no longer avert my gaze. I couldn't laugh it off as a joke, either. His pure, unadulterated feelings reached me, and all words wilted in my throat. The only thing I could offer him was silence. It wasn't that I disliked him. I just didn't know whether giving him an answer here while all my emotions were still clouded was right. I need to say something. Leon, I... No, it's all right. I know I confess my feelings, but I'm not looking for an answer from you. And to be frank, I never had any plans to tell you all this. Huh? What does he mean? Waving his hands frantically, Leon spoke somewhat desperately. You're special. You're a girl I really like, but just knowing you exist is enough for me. I don't need a response. But I tried to muster up my courage anyway, but Leon placed a hand on my shoulder. That's actually kind of cute, because I was like, if we're going to have this confessional moment, like, what the fuck are we having another chapter for? You know what I mean? But I like this because it's like, we're not really sure how I feel, and he's like, no, it's cool. I just happy to know that you exist. That's good enough for me. And he's going to go off, and then you're going to fall hard for him, and then you're going to try to work out your feelings while he's just happy you exist. And then you're going to be like, no, I'm passionately in love with you. And he's going to be like, oh, thank God. Okay, all right. I wasn't sure, but his hand seemed to be trembling slightly as if he dreaded my next words. That aside, we haven't made any plans for next week yet, have we? How about we coordinate our schedules on our way back? I'll free up as much time as I can. Okay. I know I talked about a lot of serious stuff today, which is... Oh, that's not me. That's Leon, anyway. I know I talked about a lot of serious stuff today, which is totally out of character for me, but the gloominess doesn't suit me. Alright, time to switch modes. Leon walked off at a brisk pace, and I left the back alley, hot on his heels. His back was the same as always. Somehow I sensed a hint of anxiety and restlessness. Yeah, because you're not sure how you feel, and before you were always pushing him off, and that was fine, and now you're like, I don't know, and he's like, fuck. Because it was different before. He was always flirting with you, and you were brushing him off, and he's like, it's like a little game we play, and she doesn't really know my feelings. She thinks I'm joking around, whatever. You know? And now she knows my real feelings, and she kind of feels the same, but she doesn't really know yet, and if she's not in love with me, then it's a rejection, where before there were no stakes, really, you know? He said I don't have to worry about a reply, but is that really the right thing to do? I followed Leon through the streets, feeling as if something were stuck in my throat. Chapter 4. Oh yeah, look at you. His hair is so floofy in his little chapter things. A few days had passed since the quarrel between siblings Leon and List. I let out a sigh as I made my way back home after another hard day working at the castle. I keep messing up at work lately. The only silver lining was that it had only been a minor misstep, such as omissions in documents or forgetting to submit paperwork. Still, anyone would be dejected after making the same mistake over and over. Actually, it must be pretty bad. Ginny, of all people, told me to go take a break while he finished the rest. Being so distracted was frustrating, but even if I couldn't tell anyone, at least I had a good reason. Even if the nature of my feelings for you has changed since the day I met you, you've always been special to me. Leon's words still echoed in my mind. They completely upended the normal I'd been chasing for so long. My heart was still fluttering days later, and the memory alone was enough to make my pulse race. He said he wasn't looking for an answer from me, but what should I have said back then? What was the right response? I'm home. I pushed the door to leave her open, sighing as I called out a greeting. The next moment, I don't know who's saying, well, as you think it's Leon. That was a really heavy sigh. What's wrong? Oh, no. Oh, okay, no. This is going to be two of our friends. Last time it was Ion and Zephora, so who do you think it is? Anyway, all that sighing and gloominess will chase your happiness off, as they say. Huh? Hearing a voice both ethereal and as calm as a gentle spring, I gasped and looked up. Shalia? Yeah, okay. When she said calm as a gentle spring, perfect. It's been so long, Spacey. We haven't seen each other since our final show. Shalia? Shalia was one of Circus's members whom I had traveled the world with. He was supposed to have returned to his hometown after our tour, but for some reason, my precious teammate was right before my eyes.
Oh, you're back, Spacey. I must have given you a big shock, too.
And seeing Rady not in fluffball form.
Oh, this guy showed up out of nowhere. I nearly dropped my tray.
Yeah, I'm surprised, but I'm so happy to see you again. When did you arrive in our theater? You should have told me you were coming. I would have prepared a big welcome party. I knew you'd say that, which is exactly why I kept silence. I kept my silence, sorry. Rady told me you've been swamped with work lately. Yeah, just a little. Work's been kind of hectic, I guess. I faltered as I spoke. Mishalia looked at me quizzically. You were sighing earlier. A job at the castle must be very demanding, hmm? Oh, you heard that?
That was so loud it echoed throughout the whole place. You're lucky we didn't have any other guests.
Though the sigh had been subconscious, embarrassment still welled up. I shook my head fervently, pressing my hands against my reddening cheeks. Sorry for worrying you. I'm fine, really. And I wasn't moping that much. I just have something on my mind. It's not directly related to my job. And then it must be about Leon, right? What? Shaken, I stared him down with wide eyes. In the background, Rady conspicuously averted his gaze. Rady mentioned you've been working with Leon as you prepare for the upcoming ceremony.
Well, you've been acting kind of weird ever since you asked Leon for help. Something happened between you two, didn't it? And just so you know, no lie can escape the scrutiny of these cute puppy dog eyes.
That description isn't accurate at all in your current form. Wait, that's not the point. What a big mouth he's got. Maybe I'll floof him to death next time I get the chance. Couldn't help thinking about it. But hey, this might actually be a good opportunity. Bottling it all up and brooding wouldn't get me anywhere. If I didn't find a solution soon, I might mess up big time at work and cause irreversible damage. Brady was one thing, but Pashalia was reliable during times like these. Right? Alright then. So, it's about Leon. A while ago he said... Nice. Oh, I don't know why I was gonna give Pashalia Brady's voice. I I see. And that's practically a confession.
I should have known it was about romance. Well, that was the feeling I got at any rate.
So, it really was a confession? It was all so sudden. I was so surprised that I couldn't even manage an answer. I kept thinking, oh, what should I do? It wasn't sudden, in my opinion. Huh? Vishali had declared this in a gentle but steady voice when he saw the confliction on my face. John's affection for you has always been clear, even to someone like me who barely knows him. I think you may be the only one who remained oblivious. He then turned to Rady for confirmation. In response, Rady pursed his lips, displeasure written on his face.
Pretty much, yeah. Personally, I'd have preferred that she stay oblivious forever.
But Leon acted that way all the time. I was completely convinced he flirted with everyone he came across, so though I desperately tried to deny it, a small voice stated otherwise in the back of my mind. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't gotten the hint. A part of me, though very small, had vaguely caught on to his affection, but I had the premonition that something fatal might happen if I acknowledged his feelings. Frantically searching for an escape route, I squeezed out a few words in a shaky voice. Leon said he didn't need an answer back then, too. If his feelings for me are genuine, he should want a reply, right? I wonder. There may be a reason why he didn't ask for an answer. What could that be?
If you want to know, you gotta ask the man himself.
Good point. I hung my head helplessly, feeling lost. But you know, Spacey, even if his feelings are a mystery, I think you can take a good look at your own emotions. My own emotions? Why are you so bothered? Why do his words weigh so heavily on you that you're even messing up at work? The question shouldn't be, what should I do? It should be, what do I want to do? What I want to do. I took in his words, cast my eyes down again, and fell deep into thought. Still pouting, Rady plopped down across from me with a heavy thump.
The last thing I want to do is encourage a relationship between you and that guy. And that said, I don't want to see that look on your face every single day either. But if you don't like what's happening, don't overthink it. Go confront him right away. If what you want's an answer, get it out of him, even if it means throwing a few punches. That's probably the best solution.
Rady. He was right. The situation was even affecting my work. I couldn't let it fester. Above all else, I was completely restless after being left hanging like this. It just wouldn't do. Yeah, you guys are right. I'll try to find answers. I'll confront my feelings and figure out why Leon said he didn't need an answer. And that's for the best. Letting things end ambiguously is an easy way out. But some matters won't get better unless you face them head on. Vishalia caressed the water hourglass at his hip gently, a soft smile on his face. I'll give it my all. Thanks, you two. You're very welcome.
Hey, you never need to thank me. In fact, I'm actually praying things don't go well for you guys, so yeah.
Brady deliberately spoke in a joking tone, and a tiny smile eased the tension in my cheeks. They make a good point. I still know next to nothing about Leon. Just a little while ago, I'd been ignorant about his family, his past, and even our first encounter. Thus, no matter how much I racked my brain, I'd never figure out what Leon meant when he'd called me special. Though, as Pashalia pointed out, I could take a good look at my own heart whenever I wanted to. I don't doubt that Leon was earnest when he conveyed his feelings for me. I need to figure out my true feelings just like he did. And then, I need to face him properly. But anyway, I will wrap this part up here, so I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.